Hello everyone, I'm Tim from Tim's PC and I build custom PCs to suit anyone's needs or budget. Also live stream my builds and repairs for transparency and educational purposes. So if you'd like to get an awesome new PC and you'd like to see it get put together live, send me a message today. Alrighty, so tonight we're going to be catching up on a bit of stuff from last night because last night's went a lot longer than what I had anticipated, and that can happen sometimes. That's the price of being thorough. But anyway, that's all sorted, and now we can get on to the two PCs that we have to get done tonight. So the first one we're going to do is the one that was already scheduled to be done tonight. Okay, so this is the PC for Vasanth, and this particular PC is going to be a mixture of gaming and editing, essentially. So we've got a good balance between our graphics, our CPU, plenty of storage, fast RAM. So it's sort of a good all-rounder, this one. And then we've got another one that's more exclusively focused on gaming, and that's got a 13400F and an RTX 4070 Ti. So one's slightly better at gaming and one's slightly better all round. So a good little mix here tonight. So yeah, let's get stuck right into it. So we got i9-13900K, which is a 24-core 32-thread CPU. We've got two 1TB Team NVMe SSDs. We've got an 8TB hard drive there. We've got a MSI Z790-P Wi-Fi motherboard. We have this is a 48GB kit of memory, so two 24GB sticks. So this is a relatively pretty much a newish configuration of memory. I don't ever recall seeing any DDR4 kits that were 24GB DIMMs, but we've got it now with DDR5. So this is 7000 megahertz CL40 memory and 2 times 24GB sticks. We've got an RTX 3080 here. It's a PNY Accelerate. What do they call it? Accelerate. I swear it's got another name. It's going to do my head in. Revel. Revel. That's what I was thinking of. Yeah. Hey Richard, how you going? Good to have you with us. And Riley, how you going, Riley? As in Riley.
Just Tim Christian at the moment, currently working in hospital.
Okay, yep. Sorry. We've got, if I keep going through the specs before I get completely distracted, we've got a Thermaltake GF3 power supply with RGB. So they've launched the ones with RGB. I don't know how important that really is to a lot of people. Most people don't see their power supply fans. But they're at a good price, same as the regular ones. So I was like, yeah, may as well pick this one up. And so the GF3 is the new ATX 3.0 power supplies. So essentially, what that means is when we've got the new 12 plus 4 pin connector for the 40 series cards, this power supply has that header directly from the power supply, so there's no need for any adapter cables or anything like that. So if your budget allows, I'll always recommend installing an ATX3 power supply these days. However, they are quite expensive, so your budget might not allow for it. So that's okay, because there's adapter cables. Alright, and so for our case we've got the LS720 cooler there from Deep Cool, and we're putting it in an Antec D800 Flux. So that's build 1, and pretty reasonable specs if you ask me. I would be quite happy with this as for my own PC. It'd probably just be overkill for me, to be honest. But yes, this ticks a lot of boxes. You know, you've got your i9 13900K, great CPU, even though it does need a little bit of tuning to make it behave itself. So if you caught the stream last night, we had an older i9, but still an i9, and Intel kind of have those things tuned so that out of the box it looks better when they run benchmarks and stuff like that. So you kind of gotta like set yourself a little bit of a power limit for it, because if not, you'll continue to have those high temperatures. And the 13900K, yeah, certainly lives up to its reputation there. So here's our RAM. So this is probably the new and exciting thing for tonight. Is just, yeah, the very fast and interesting, nice burnout, bro.
I was waiting for the smash.
You're waiting for the smash.
Yeah.
But that was a burnout, not a brake screeching to a halt.
But you could still fuck up doing a burnout. I've seen that plenty of times.
Yeah, I'm just saying that it's more likely that you hear the smash.
Yeah. I'm not saying no, but there's a lot of terrible drivers around here.
There are some bad drivers, yeah, definitely.
So,
I'm not going to deny it. I'm not going to deny it. All right, so we got a heap of M2 slots on this motherboard. We got 4 M2 slots. So I might go ahead and use the 2 at the bottom. And the reason why we'll do that is because we've got 4 slots, it'll just mean that these are accessible if they need to be swapped out for whatever reason. And then we'll have this other slot at the top there free if they want to install a Gen 4 SSD at some stage. It's got the heatsink there for it as well. And then there'll still be one spare slot that will be sort of covered up by the graphics card, but I don't think we're going to have too much of a problem here. We got plenty of storage. This is the sort of PC that you're going to be able to buy, and you know, provided that nothing sort of fails on us, like, you know, we could have a graphics card die potentially, you know, that stuff happens. But you know, presuming everything lasts, this is the sort of PC that, you know, you won't be needing another PC for the next 5 to 8 years realistically. And if you do decide partway through to upgrade to a different graphics card, you're all ready for a 40 series with this build. So, happy days. Very nice. A new skyline, eh?
Oh, this is in Forza.
I was gonna say, I'm like, I don't think they've made that model for ages. Okay, CPU time. this. It's meant to be what a silicon wafer looks like, and the little squares that you see there, they're actual CPUs. So if you're wondering what a silicon wafer is, I would just type that into Google and have a look at the images, and then you'll see exactly what this is. So here it is, our massive 24 core i9 13900K. And we'll very carefully chuck that in our Z790 motherboard. Alrighty, so try to preserve the box there. I've already got a few behind me. Certainly don't need any for my background. Okay, so cooler time. So these deep cool LS720 coolers, these are excellent coolers. They come with deep cools, new fans, and they come with a 5-year warranty on the pump. So if you had a cheap, shitty deep cool cooler from back in the day and weren't too happy with it, don't judge this one by the same standards, because it's a completely different product. Yeah. Yes, he's going all right. Where is he?
He's over here watching geckos.
His favourite new thing, watching geckos. So we'll chuck on our Intel backplate there, and then what we get here is our RGB fan controller and connection cables, addressable cables I should say.
Oh, they use rivets to put in.
It's legit.
So fun.
Okay, so one thing with our LS720 coolers, they do come with pre-applied thermal compound on the bottom. So if you're sort of watching from home and trying to work out if you need anything extra with this cooler, no, you don't need to worry about any thermal paste. However, not a bad thing to have, you know, in the top drawer just for emergencies. You ever have to put a CPU cooler back on a PC? It can happen. Sort of thing you don't need until you need it. Just put on our little feet here. What is it? What were you looking at? What are you what the fucking about? Why would anyone want that?
I don't know. Is it?
Yeah.
Eddie says hi peoples and animals.
Hey Eddie, how you going? Good to have you with us. Okay, so now we've got our Intel brackets on. The pump is all ready to be connected. I don't know why they put these things on the hose. See, maybe with some styles of hose, but these hoses here are nice and flexible. They'll pretty much bend whichever way you need them to. So 3 fans. They can all be daisy chained up. So make sure you don't use the wrong offsets at the bottom. You don't want the wrong amount of mounting pressure. You'll either have none or you'll have too much and you'll bend the motherboard or something. So you can definitely go pear-shaped really quickly. And with an i9, they run so hot. So just like last night, only this is even worse. These ones, they have these ones just clocked so high from factory, and the whole idea is to smash benchmarks, because that's what the customer's looking at, and that's what they're using to decide whether to go Intel or AMD. And Intel very much aware of that. Let me just get these cables in the right way. Okay, that's looking good. And so basically, it's just going to be in the case like this. So we want to make sure all of our cables are down this end of the radiator. So I always recommend double checking what you do at that stage, because the second you assume that you won't make a problem, won't make a mistake, is when you'll actually make that mistake, and then you'll waste time backtracking, and it will potentially ruin your day. So don't do that. Nearly done. And I got to do another one of these as well. So these PCs are going to look really, really similar. Okay, so that's all set up. We've just got our cables here for the controller and the addressability. So you can either install these a little bit later, or you can do it now. I'll do it now just so you can see how it all goes together. So you've got SATA power, addressable fan, and addressable RGB. And then on the other end is this connector here. So we can use our extension cable here to get a bit more length in the cable for cable management. Well, just clips together like that. And then on one end of the chain plugs in just like that. And so you've got one that goes to your power supply and two that go to the motherboard, and then you can control all of your fan speeds and RGB lighting. So makes your life easy. And because we're putting this in a D800 flux case, we've got an included fan and RGB controller at the back there, so we can hook our RGB all up together. So it's nice and simple. Alright, so let's get stuck into the case. I'm going to remove that bottom fan. We don't actually need it. And we've got an extra RGB fan to go on the back here as well. Very good. Alrighty, so we don't have any offsets to change. We've got a full-size ATX motherboard and a full-size ATX case. I can go and chuck the rear I/O shield on before I forget. Yeah. Hey George, how you going? Good to have you with us. Okay, so over here we've got a couple of options for mounting our drives and stuff like that. We've got our included RGB and fan controller. And we got all these cables over here, so I like to remove all of these wire ties. You don't have to, I just think it's better long term, because they put like cheap plastic on the outside of these, and you know, one day it'll sort of degrade away, and then you'll just have like little bits of wire wrapped around your electrical cables. And I mean, to some people that doesn't sound like too much of a problem, but that sort of scares me. My heart rate, I can feel it increase when I think about the prospect of having wire wrapped around my wires. And if you've ever tried to, like, you know, repair something electronic, you'll probably have a similar level of anxiety about things like that. So we don't need really any cable ties around it. We can just sort of tuck that excess behind the lip of that case there, and we can just put one cable tie around it. We don't even have to have this one. It'll just keep all of those cables a little bit neater. Part of the reason why I do normally insist on this particular cable tie, and why I'll say to other people, or not so much other people, but at other times I will say to people, don't actually use the extra cable tie. The reason why I like to do it here is because up here, these 4 holes, is room to mount a 3.5-inch hard drive. Number one. And then down here, we have room to mount a 2.5-inch hard drive. Not this one though. Yeah. Hey Darren, how you going? Good to have you with us. And then we've got 2 more 2.5-inch drive mounting points over there, and then we've got 2 3.5-inch drive mounting points at the bottom. So we've got this one little tray that's down here, and you can fit one in there, so like that. but we can also bolt one to the top of the tray. Now, the reason why I'll use that first is because you have to remove the tray and the drive that's in it, potentially, just to get access to the mounting points for this. Because, and if I do that at first, it just saves everyone the hassle of it later on. And if anyone, if they ask me how to do it, it's less complicated to explain how to remove a plastic tray from a drawer and screw your hard drive into that, and tip your computer over like this and pull it apart.
Tim?
Yeah, what's up?
Seems fun to me.
What's up with the YouTube channel? What do you mean?
It's fine on our end.
Seems okay to me. Alright, so I'm going to remove the chassis and we're going to mount the hard drive to the top of that. And then we've still got room to mount another two 3.5 inch drives. Yeah, didn't we say hi to Darren? I could have sworn we said hi to Darren.
Probably. Brain fart. I don't know what's going on. George can't get into the street. So.
That's strange. It's showing good condition and yeah. It's not a huge amount of views, but it's there. My channel's only tiny. And so, by mounting our drive in this position, it's sort of the hardest of the three to install after the fact. And then it will make anyone's life a little bit easier when they go to upgrade their PC. Anyone who happens to own it. You build a PC for someone, but it might not necessarily just be that person's PC. People like they get something and then they eventually sell it. So this PC, might end up in the hands of some young fella, because they might decide to upgrade. What's up?
It says using means premium YouTube can't watch the live, but with another account it's working.
Oh, there's a problem with YouTube Premium. Oh, that sucks. YouTube Premium is like it's probably, out of all of my monthly subscriptions, probably the one I'm happiest with. To be completely honest. Alright, so we got our drive installed in that top position. Then we can access this spare tray. I'm going to actually leave the spare screws and stuff in that packet. Just down below there, we'll be able to plug in our SATA and power just above it. Okay. So let's get our power supply in place. Running out of room here. They keep making these boxes big. So yes, because we've got a Thermaltake GF3 power supply, the unit has a 10-year warranty. It comes in a big box, lots of cables.
Oh, fucking hell.
And it comes with this, this little thing around it. That's how you know it's real premium. But the main thing is it has a 10-year manufacturer's warranty. So just like the longest warranty that you'll get on like a fridge or a freezer or something like that, the best warranty that you can get with your power supply is a 10-year warranty. And so we got a modular power supply here, so we can just install the cables that we need, and then we can disregard the ones that we don't need. So to get things started, we need our motherboard. So we got 30 pins on one end, so 20 plus 10 on one end, and then 20 plus 4 on the other end. So yes, some of these pins here have 2 cables supplying them. So we don't actually need this one here, but this is the ATX 3.0 connector. So this will go back in this pouch with everything else. And if Vasanth wants to install an upgrade to a 40 or 50 series card in a couple of years' time to get more gaming performance, he'll be able to do that. But I think it's going to be a pretty good workstation for him nonetheless.
George says, I'm in with this secondary non-premium account. This is odd. That's so strange.
That's really weird. Well, I know that they do some different stuff with YouTube Premium. It's like a different part of YouTube or something, for lack of a better term. Yeah. That sounds fun. We will need our CPU, and we will need our PCIe. Okay. And so we'll have a little thermal take bag here full of random goodies. I'll chuck the Wi-Fi antennas in there. Not that you really need it, but I'll chuck in the AMD mounting brackets that come with your cooler as well. Yeah, and if I come across any other little bits and pieces, we'll chuck them in. Your motherboard, sorry, your CPU cover. Yeah. Okay. Power supply in place there. be wary when it comes to power supplies. The ones that only have a 1-year warranty most probably aren't very good quality units. The more you spend on the 80 plus rating, the more energy efficient they are. However, for the average person, probably doesn't make too much of a difference, because the average person who buys a PC, they're not like using them hard out all the time. They're certainly not using them hard out like 24/7. Okay. So before we even go anywhere, I can hook up our SATA power to the drive. I can hook up our RGB controller. And we can stash all that away down there. Just tuck them CPU power cable up around there. Okay, so I'll put this fan on after I get the cooler installed. I'm gonna lay this down. One of the good things about having a lazy Susan is I can make use of a bit of the gap there to feed cables through and stuff. It does definitely come in handy. Okay, so just going to put a couple of bolts in our radiator for now. Can do the rest a little bit later. It's very boring watching me screw in screws. I might want to get a couple of bolts in the motherboard first before I stand it up. It's generally advisable. Scared her again. Man, you must have been so much fun to work with at Coles. That would have just been like everyone's favourite day was when you were at work.
Don't fucking remind me. I've just been doing my own fucking thing. Somebody comes along and smacks on the door. Like, there's been so many times where I've almost cut myself because I've had a knife in my hand and I've done it. I'm so lucky I didn't stab myself.
Yeah, they would have felt bad then. Okay, so when you install your all-in-one liquid cooler, pay close attention to where your pump's actually located. So most of the time it's located inside the block here, but some models have it in the radiator, so double check that. You don't want your pump at the high point of the loop. So it should be at the low point, or at least not the high point. So pumps that are designed to move water can be damaged by air, and vice versa. They're slightly different in how they're built. So just pay attention to that. If you're gonna ruin your cooler by the mounting position, it'll probably be because you got that little detail there wrong. And I mean, we all know in the industry, because we deal with the warranties and repairs and stuff like that, so when people don't mount them correctly and it leads to a premature failure, yeah, we've all been through that. Whether you buy your PC from me, Blake's Custom Computers, Sudster Technology, Radian PC, Cataclysm, we all been through it, man. Every single one of us, we all talk. Okay. Oh, I better get this other fan in place before I go too much further. So you might need to remove the back fan to mount your 360mm radiator up top in this case. Just a little FYI there. Okay. Okay. So we can plug our pump into the SATA power outlet. And all those cables can just get tucked away. And then we just got a fan and RGB connector. Okay, so it's all up the top here on this motherboard. Okay. got our front panel audio. I can slide that around the perimeter there with all those other cables. Yeah.
Can you daisy chain RGB first to the 5-volt RGB band?
Yep. Yeah, you can do that. So they'll typically only have 1 or 2 5-volt RGB headers on the motherboard, but you're normally able to get about 10 5-volt RGB devices powered off that one header. Just as a little point of reference there. So some models may vary, some models might use slightly higher wattage than another, and you might run into issues at like a lower wattage or with less devices. There is a little bit of variance there that I've noticed, but as a general rule, yeah, about 10 standard fans off a single 5-volt RGB header. So if you've got 2 on your motherboard and you daisy chain all the fans off those 2 headers, that should be enough for pretty much any RGB devices that you want to chain in there that are powered. So if you've got a SATA power connector and a controller for it, then that doesn't really count because the power is coming from an alternative source and not just from the header. The header's just the addressability. Okay, so we are firing ahead now. That is all done, and now all we have is our graphics card. So we're using slots 2 and 3. And we've also got a single X1 and 2 X4 PCIe slots that are going to be available once we install the graphics card. If one of them gets covered up, it'll be that X1 slot. But don't worry too much because you can always put a smaller PCIe device into a larger slot. That's no problems at all. Just don't try to put a bigger card in a smaller slot. Physics may be against you. Alright, so our Revel Accelerate RTX 3080. 3080, still an excellent graphics card to own. No issues with it whatsoever. Just like people bought the 1080 Ti and it was basically good for the next 6 years for them. That's the same sort of deal with the 3080. It's a really good, really solid performing card. Alrighty. That is looking like a rig. Oh, I just realised there's one thing I haven't plugged in yet. Actually, that can go down the bottom there. Okay. Do you want to grab a BIOS for this, babe? Oh, that's looking alive. Oh, it's right there. Sorry. Thank you very much. Oh, that's sick. I want to go do rock climbing again. That's awesome. Okay, so let's just set up our fans. So our CPU is a DC header, and we just want it at full speed all the time because it's pump. Just like your car doesn't go too well when it's like the engine is running below 1,000 RPM. Pumps don't run too well when they're at low RPMs. There's a rev range for the pump, just like there's a rev range for the car. And if the car's like operating like within that nice green area, there's minimal sort of wear being done to it. And obviously with our CPU pump, we want lots of we want the water moving through and circulating through fast, so we've got lots of efficiency there. Okay, so the next one is for our next one along will be our pump, and so that can go to smart fan because that is the fans on our cooler. And then the next one is DC, but we run it running as smart fans. Excellent. Yeah. What's that? Oh. Bloody hell. Okay. Mm-hmm. Alrighty, so we've got Australia, obviously, because of this accent. Alrighty. So in my downtime, I'm gonna start prepping up this other motherboard. So we won't have much downtime because we've got an i9 and it's a pretty snappy multi-core processor. So the second PC here has got a 13400F, 32 gigabytes of DDR4 RAM, 750 watt power supply, and an RTX 4070 Ti. Same case and same cooler. Yeah. Hey, how's it going? Good to have you with us. I'm doing alright. I don't have any LAN drivers and I can't find my highly compatible and generic Wi-Fi dongle. The network drivers. Yep. Oh, you'll need to extract the folder. Go back. Yeah. Extract the folder. Copy the whole folder over. You'll need that. Yep. Okay. So now we should be all good. Oh, maybe not. Why didn't that work? Something's wrong. What else is on there? Nothing else? Go to the Wi-Fi driver then. No, just the Wi-Fi will be fine.
This may take a while.
That's pretty weird. Well, then I'll take that out to some.
Yeah. It was so.
Just click on try again.
Where?
Down there.
I told you it was going to take a while. Leave it. Give it 2 minutes. Finished.
All right. So while Christine worries about that driver, I'm going to prep up this motherboard. Alrighty. So now hopefully we'll have more success with the Wi-Fi drivers. Bloody hell, what a pain.
Working
Yes. Okay, so this is set up for gaming and editing.
now.
Alrighty, we finally have internet. Like a cable. Oh, look at that. Now we get MSI installer come up. Right at the point I don't need it anymore.
Now,
Okay. Speed through this. Yep. Okay, there's our graphics card. Alrighty, so we're nearly done with this.
there's a gecko on the outside of the screen, and there's a moth stuck between the glass and the screen. And
Oh.
the gecko's trying to eat it. It's like, why can't I get this?
Alright, let's set up our drives. a couple of seconds. There we go. There's our storage devices. Ugh. Don't need any of this. Oh, look at this MSI marketing on the wallpaper. What I want to know is how they've done this if I haven't activated Windows. I haven't activated Windows yet, so we shouldn't be able to change the desktop background. Seems a little bit strange. Yeah. Oh God. Hell no. Hells no. Oh. No. Okay. So we should have everything all ready to rock and roll now. Look at this monster. Our XMP isn't on. Alrighty, so let's run Heaven here on high, no anti-aliasing. And so that number there below RAM is how many frames per second it's currently running at. Up the top here we got our graphics card temperature, usage, clock speed, VRAM, usage and clock speed, CPU, temperature, usage, and our RAM usage. And while that's running, I'm just going to prep up this motherboard for Huon's build. Oh, sorry, I paused it. He bloody well is. Okay, so that was heaven there. So the next one we run is Valley. We do this one on Ultra with max anti-aliasing. Oh. Alrighty, so that was Valley there on Ultra with max anti-aliasing. So that's a more demanding benchmark, and it was run on higher settings compared to Heaven. And then finally we do the superposition one, which is 4K. What? Oh, okay. Alrighty, and that was our 4K results. Okay, so the next thing we want to do is we want to get our 13900K a custom power profile. Yeah. Hey Nicholas, how you going? Good to have you with us. Yeah, so we've got an i9 13900K tonight. And just like the other one, we'll have to set a custom power profile. However, our 13900KF can handle a bit more juice, typically. So I'll show you how they've got an i9 tuned these days. So we'll open up Cinebench and we are going to go straight to 100 degrees. Look at that, because they don't care about how hot it runs. They care about smashing these benchmarks. And look at that, 21 seconds. 13900K is absolutely smashing, but I can't in good conscience hand this over to a customer when it runs like this at multi-core. So that's why we save in the custom power profile. So we're thermal throttling now, and I want to swap that to power throttling instead. So we're going to set a 175 watt limit there. We're going to click apply, and we're going to go back, and we're going to see a straight up 25 degree drop in temperature. And realistically, much the same in terms of performance. A few seconds slower, but at least you get the luxury of knowing that your CPU is running at a much more reasonable temperature, and you can play around and optimize this as much as you want. Basically, this is your master wattage control here, turbo boost, short power max. So you can adjust this up and down. So I'm going to save this as a profile. I'm going to save it, and I'm going to call it 175 watt. And so all we need to do is open up, if we're going to be using all cores and threads of our CPU, we just open up XTU, we go to this 175 watt, we click on it, we click show values up here, and then we click apply. It doesn't work because it's currently already applied. So that's all we need to do. So if it's running at that really high temperature, come in here, turn on this 175 watt profile, and this will get it running a bit nicer for you. And what we're going to do now is we're going to turn this over. We're going to do our stress test on this running at those powers, because I don't need the thing to bloody melt on me. I just need to run a bit of power in it, get it sort of warmed up, and make sure that it's not overheating or doing anything it shouldn't do. I'll reset hardware monitor so we don't see that 100 degree in the data there. Sweet. So we'll let this one run so we can get up to 100 degrees obviously with our CPU. And down here for our graphics card, where are we? We can get up to 83 degrees on our graphics, on our GPU, and memory and hotspot up to 110 degrees, believe it or not. But realistically, if they're hitting 100 degrees, you might want to find out why. Okay, so we might go back to full screen for a bit, because I'm going to put this one on the floor beside me. Yeah.
3 kids in America died between 2006 and 2016 by being crushed by a CRT TV sitting on them.
Oh, true. You just think, how the fuck does that even happen? Okay, so now we're here with our next PC to build. So I've actually got the board all prepped and ready to go. So now we can turn our attention to the case. So this is going to be a very similar build in terms of what it looks like. We'll remove these plain black fans. So we're adding in an RGB fan for this. And unlike the last one, we've got a micro board, so I'll have to adjust a couple of offsets. one. Alrighty. And so we've got another power supply to install here. So this one isn't an ATX3 power supply like the one before, but it's still a pretty good quality unit. So this also has a 10-year manufacturer's warranty, just like the Thermaltake one in the previous build. It just doesn't have the ATX3 cable coming straight from the power supply. But that's okay. We've got an adapter cable and we can always use that. Doritos tobacco flavored. Cheesy tobacco. Yum yum. Ugh. What a joke. And so just because you got an i9, that doesn't mean that your PC is going to be a sick gaming PC. Now we've got a 13400F, just an i5 from the same generation as the i9 and the other one. But because we've got a 4070 Ti, that is actually going to be a much faster gaming PC. So it always makes sense to spend your money on the graphics card when you're after the best gaming performance that you can get. The CPU is a secondary consideration. Yeah, that might seem like, common knowledge to some people, but believe me, it's not. I get people all the time who ask for example, they'll ask for the new Ryzen 7800 X3D CPU, and then they'll be like, oh, just the RTX 3070. Now, you may as well be, I'm thinking of some colourful metaphors for that, but it's very, very unbalanced if you were to just get a 3070 and get the absolute fastest current gaming CPU. That doesn't really make much sense. Where it does make sense to get the super fast top of the tier gaming CPU, it makes sense when you've got yourself an RTX 4090. You've got that high level, top tier graphics card, and you want to complement it with the absolute fastest gaming CPU you can. Now that makes sense. Now it does not make sense if you're chasing gaming performance and you haven't spent enough on your graphics card and you're trying to spend too much on your CPU and too much on your motherboard. So that's a common mistake people make. They spend too much money on their motherboard and their CPU, thinking that it's going to have a bigger impact for them when they're gaming, and then they buy it, spend all their money, and then they realize, oh shit, I should have gone with a slightly shitter processor, so I could have got the next step up for my graphics card. And that's that's a kind of that's a bitter pill to swallow if you've just gone and spent $4,000 on your PC. So. Okay. Yeah. Yeah, I know. I see that. I see that. Fuck me dead.
I don't know if it makes it better or more terrifying.
It makes me say fuck me dead. That's what it does. Alrighty, so just like before, I'm going to take all these little cable ties and shit off these wires just because the concept gives me anxiety. Okay. And so yeah, just like the last one, we'll leave room for that 3.5-inch drive there, and potentially a 2.5-inch drive there. Then we've got room for 1, 2, 3 3.5-inch, and 1, 2, 3 2.5-inch. Okay, so let's lay her down and let's get our motherboard into case. So I will need a rear I/O shield. Just put the board down there for a second. So if you're wondering how the other computer's going, temperatures are all looking very, very stable. You could probably run a bit more wattage through the CPU if you wanted to. I'd just leave it as is though. It's not going to make that much difference really. Yeah. Yeah, I've definitely got a bit of a preference for certain cases over other ones. So look, if you're after a good sort of middle of the pack case, I love the Antec D-Flux cases. So if you don't have too much of a preference, you just want something that's good and easy to build in, you pretty much can't go wrong with these Antec D-Flux cases. I love them. They come with an included fan and RGB controller for 6 devices. So, you know, it just ticks a lot of boxes. But, you know, I also love Lian Li cases, Corsair cases, NZXT cases, the new ones. There's a lot of really nice cases. The thing about cases in particular is it's very much, there's a lot of really nice, like good quality cases on the market, right? It's 2023. There are plenty of options available and good quality options as well. So a lot of it does come down to what you personally like. So if you're like, oh, I don't really care what the case looks like as long as it's good, blah 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 blah. If your budget allows, I'll probably suggest one of these Antec cases for you. Or if you, I don't know, if you come to me and you ask for something a bit more, you know, want something that looks a little bit sharper or something like that, I don't know, we can get whatever. I can provide a little bit of insight with different cases, because obviously sometimes it's not really my choice what the case is, it's what the customer wants. And in many cases, excuse the pun, that'll be exactly what their personal taste, you know, whatever that reflects. So yeah, for a lot of people, it's got to be what they want. It's got to fit in with the rest of their room, etc. So yeah. Oh, okay. Steel, eh? Okay, so let's start getting some cables hooked up to this motherboard. So because we've got a micro board in an ATX case, we want to run some of these cables behind the board. And this will ensure it still looks nice and clean at the end. So our front panel audio.
I didn't even notice it first.
What have they done?
That's a cone.
Oh, yeah, okay. Yeah, I saw that. I saw that the other day.
I was like, huh? It's two different types of room and I don't realise one of it's a cone. No. Wow. She was house again. You're a naughty little puppy. Good boy, Moo Moo. Good boy. Look what he did to me.
Yeah.
Yes, you. You're very cute. You're very naughty. Naughty little puppy. That's what they call them. Naughty little puppies.
Mm-hmm. They sure do. Okay, so we are now at the point where we can chuck in our graphics card. We're using slots 1 and 2 here. Yeah, no, it can be one thing after another. I normally sort of only suggest building it on your own if you've got the spare parts. Small little puppy.
Oh, she sees the cat.
Fluffy Meow. Hey man. He looks like he's just had something to eat.
Yeah, I just ate him Fluffy Mountain.
Oh, Fluffy Mountain. That's what we call tuna around here. Fluffy Meow. Doesn't want a bar of me, apparently. So what the fuck you calling Fluffy now? Fucking show you, Fluffy now. Okay, so we can go ahead and make ourselves a little adapter here.
Puppy dog. Ah, no, don't go under there. You're gonna. Oh. Downstairs to fuck else.
Alrighty. I'll need another BIOS, babe. Fluffy cat. You're very fluffy.
She thinks she's getting more Cheerios.
Oh, really? No. Small dog. Honey?
She's like, you got Cheerios, right?
No,
Right?
just pills. She's like, I'll eat them.
Just a moment, I've got to take my pills. It's done. Do you want the pliers?
Oh, I sure do.
Little puppy. Hey, hello.
We call them dogs.
Little dog. Small puppy. Very small. Very small. Alright, I'm going to touch you and you're going to like it.
What the fuck is that?
Finally finished installing the processor.
Oh, what? Oh my god.
Someone has way too much time on their hands.
Fucking hell. Yeah.
Huon wants to know what's the difference between a microboard and a board.
Oh, it's just the physical dimensions of the board. So yeah, it's cheaper and it's about, I don't know, what do you call that, 5 centimeters shorter. So yeah, it's not like one board's more powerful than the other or anything like that. Okay, so we've updated our BIOS. We can go ahead and where's my Windows? SSD. Right there. So even though Huon's only got an i5, because he's got the 4070 Ti, his gaming performance is going to be much better than the 3080. Well, not much better, but a bit better. And so the i9 isn't going to make the 3080 catch up to a 4070 Ti. It just doesn't work like that. You get a little bit of extra performance by going more hardcore on the CPU. But yeah, if you're after maximum gaming performance, spend as little on a CPU as possible and as much on the graphics card as possible. Okay. And so Windows 11 is a free upgrade from Windows 10. It's just like a Windows update. You don't need any technical knowledge to do it. Your license key for Windows 10 transfers over. It becomes Windows 11. But I still always install Windows 10. Sorry about that.
Scared the shit out of me.
Because it's still the most, more people use Windows 10 than 11 at this stage. But 11 is gaining market share, so... Now, Fluffy Meow, you are in the way.
Fluffy Mao cares not.
He does not give a shit. He's like, fucking, what are you doing? He's like, holy shit.
I'm out.
Yep. I'm not hanging around to find out. Very good. Ugh. What am I doing?
No, I'm talking to the dog.
Oh, the dog. Oh. Where are you running off to? Are you going to do a wee? Goomba. Hey? Goomba. Have you fed Goomba? No? Yes.
What is he doing? What's he doing? Hey, what's he doing? What's he doing?
Oh, okay, so Australia, US keyboard layout, no internet because obviously I'm a peasant and can't afford internet. Okay. So just like the last one, we'll get everything set up, but our LAN driver has been recognised straight away. How good's that? So this will be a lot quicker to set up because we didn't have that network problem. So put down some custom desktop icons so we don't make a mess of the place. And let's set this up as a gaming PC. So BattleNet for Warzone. Chrome is the world's most popular internet browser. CPU-Z is just a little tool that tells you about your computer. Crystal Disk Info does exactly what it says. It gives you information about your storage devices, tell you how much life they've got left, etc. Handy to have. Only takes up a couple of megabytes of disk space. So a lot of this stuff that I install only takes up a couple of megabytes. It's basically nothing, and they're just handy applications that can just sit there in the background.
Why do you look so sad? What's wrong? Little puppy. What ails you, my child? Ow!
Okay. Small dog. You better stop being small. Yeah, you better cut that out as well. You better stop being small. Yeah, cut that out. And we don't need XTU.
Fucking. He says, "Oh, fluffy
Yeah, I know. He's just call him what he is. He's a fluffy meow. He makes meow noises, and he's fluffy, and he needs extra care because of his long, fluffy meow fur. That is his deal.
Hey, Fluffy Mal.
And so, if you're wondering what the deal is with him, what his story is, his story is we thought he was a homeless cat at the unit complex that we used to live at, and he sort of just decided to like come around and just take up residence at our place. And we were like, oh, okay, yeah, he looks like he's been abandoned. He had all his matted fur on him. He was like skinny and had worms and stuff like that. So we were like, oh, okay, we'll take him in. We shaved him down, cleaned him up, and then we noticed at the unit complex, someone put up a sign saying that they'd lost him and referred to him as a much loved cat, and we were like, not sure if he's a much loved cat, considering the state that we found him in, and he was being let out. He was out every night, just roaming around the complex. That's why we thought he was a stray. And if it wasn't for our other cat getting out and we think being eaten by a snake, if it wasn't for that, we probably wouldn't have ended up with him. Because it was just because we'd lost another cat that he was sort of able to move in. No, don't worry about that. Alrighty. So we can update and restart, and then we can run some gaming benchmarks on it to see what this thing can do. So yeah, if you scroll back and watch the benchmarks on the other one, you'll have a comparison between the 13400F with a 4070 Ti and an i9 13900K and a 3080. And so some people might think that the i9 would beat the i5, but that's not how it goes. Okay, so Bluetooth and Wi-Fi has installed successfully. Okay. So we got 13400F here, and just to show you what this thing's capable of. Yeah.
Kim says, oh no, I'm glad he got to move in. Makes me sad when Kim said that little thing. He says, oh, the only thing I really know about PCs is that the graphics card is more important than the CPU.
Yep. Yep. People like, but what if it bottlenecks? It's like, yeah, but there's always a bottleneck somewhere. What matters more about worrying about whether it's bottlenecked or whatever is how much dollars do I have to spend to get how much of an increase in gaming performance. That's all that matters. Okay, bottlenecking something that, you know, the more hardcore enthusiast who's spending big bucks on everything and spares no expense with his PC. That's something that person worries about. For everybody else, like 95% of people, it's all about what upgrade will get me the most extra performance. Who cares if bottlenecks a few percent? That doesn't matter. Who cares? That is the least of your concerns. If putting in a new graphics card is going to get you more performance, you do that instead of spending more money or the same money and putting in a new CPU and getting basically the same performance as you had before. So our 13400F, 693 single core, and we can see our 13900K, still a bit of a jump in terms of its performance there. That's a ridiculous score there, 902. But as we can see there, the 13400F single core just smashes a whole heap of CPUs. And it's a 10 core 16 thread CPU. And just to give you an idea, it's outperforming an i7 10700K. It's outperforming an i9 9900KS at multi-core. And this is now the entry-level i5 chip. So pretty cool. Excellent performance for what it is. You basically don't have to worry about anything like that. So let's run Heaven here on high, no anti-aliasing. And so as before, this number here below RAM is how many frames per second it's running at. Up here we've got the graphics card, temperature, usage, clock speed, wattage, VRAM, usage and clock speed, CPU, temperature and usage, RAM, usage. So as you can see there, just in that opening scene, we're talking about a 20 to 25% frame per second increase compared to the 3080 with the i9. So it doesn't matter that the i9 was ahead on that single core CPU-Z benchmark. The fact that we have the better graphics card in here more than makes up for that difference.
Check this out. Old school Maccas. Nintendo 64.
Oh wow. Jeez. I didn't go to that Macca's.
No. Jeez.
In a very competitive area or
They
something.
even had Genesis and Super Nintendo set up in some stores as well.
Oh, yeah. Anything in a highly competitive markets. I'm assuming.
God, I would have spent hours there and like absolutely begged my parents to take me there. I was a kid.
Imagine how sticky those controllers would be. They'd just be like disease vectors, right?
Yeah.
Oh.
This is an intense day.
Yeah.
I made some gumbo with only okra and sausage. It wasn't bad, wasn't it? It was just mediocre.
Mediocre.
I hate okra.
Okra's gross, man.
Mm-hmm.
That's like full-on survival food for me.
If you like okra, you're just insane.
Alright, so next we'll run Valley here. Valley's a more demanding benchmark. It's also run at higher settings. They both come running.
What?
Mm-hmm. It's alright? Alrighty, so that was Valley there on Ultra with max anti-aliasing. And then finally, oh, 4K. See how she
There's
goes.
no more Cheerios, mate. She's like, ooh, she's not gonna have Cheerios. She's like, poking it with her nose.
Yeah.
You almost know what temperature can run up to while before I start to worry.
So CPUs can get up to 100 degrees. Graphics card can get up to 83 degrees. So yeah, you've got plenty of headroom here. Your CPU with that cooler, it basically it'll never get hotter than like 60 degrees. Unlike the i9 that you need to do a custom power profile to stop it from melting, the 13400F is tuned very nicely, straight out of the box, requires no adjustments or technical mucking around with.
It's not food.
Fluffy meow. Okay. All right. Well, what we'll do now is we'll get this one all set up and ready for the stress test. And then we'll switch back to the first PC and we'll see how that one's actually going, because it's about halfway through, or maybe even further, maybe majority of the way through its stress test. So we can see how the numbers look on the other one. So yeah, over here, as discussed, our CPU, it's our 13400. It can get up to 100 degrees. It's not going to get anywhere near that. If you see the CPU anywhere near 100 degrees, that'd be an indication that there's something wrong with your cooler. So if you do see it getting up, 90 plus degrees for your CPU, for you, that is a potential problem. Not for everyone, because some people might have i9s, and that's not necessarily a problem for an i9. For the graphics card, so you can get up to 83 degrees on the GPU. The memory and hotspot can get up to 110 degrees. but I would be concerned if either of these went over 100 degrees. Just FYI. So once you settle in and you game and you've been gaming for 5-6 hours straight, you know, some of these numbers can look high. It might look scary to you, like you might see 70 degrees there or something on the graphics card. That's nothing to worry about. Like I said, 83 degrees and 110 for these two. Up here for your CPU, like I said, if you see it over 90 degrees, that'll be an indication there's something wrong with that cooler. You got a 5-year warranty on the cooler there, so if that does happen, just let me know. I think you're in Sydney, if I remember right. So if there is any dramas like that, any warranty issues, I'll refer you to my business partner in Sydney, and they'll handle the warranty for you. So you won't have to send your whole PC back to me in Brisbane or anything. Oh no, nothing to worry about there. That's nowhere near. So over here we've got MSI Afterburner. So you don't have any MSI stuff in your computer, but you still have this app, and this app here basically allows you to adjust a lot of your like fan speed settings and stuff on your graphics card. And as you can see there, it says temp limit 84 degrees. So basically, once it gets to there, it's not like the thing's gonna start melting and catch on fire or something like that. When it gets to that 84 degrees, then it starts cutting its power to stop itself from getting any hotter. So if it does get up to that temperature, that could be a red flag, because then it's going to start reducing performance. But like I said, you shouldn't see it get anywhere near that. So I've got it tuned so that by the time it gets to 74 degrees, the fans on your graphics card are going to be at 100%. So it's if it ever gets up around that 84 degrees mark, definitely reach out then. But up to that is fine. So normally it'll run between 60 and 75 degrees. That's sort of typical for like after you've been gaming for an hour or more. So yeah, don't freak out too much. I know a lot of people get really freaked out with temperatures and stuff because they put them in like they have like a human perspective with it. Got to remember that the technology that we've got, it's designed to get a little bit warm, especially after a while. And don't stress too much, because even if you do have something like the cooler fail, it's just going to get up to that limit that I just mentioned there, like 100 degrees on the CPU and 83 degrees on the graphics card. And once it gets up to that point, it'll just start cutting power to stop itself from getting any hotter. So the engineers they've already taken care of that, and they've built those fail safes into the system there for you. You just have to be aware if it is getting to that point, because that would mean that something within the system's gone astray. So like I said, the CPU, if it's getting over 90 degrees in your case with a 13400F, that would probably be an indication that your cooler's decided to die, or more specifically, the pump on your cooler has died. But yeah, like I said, 5-year warranty on the cooler, 10-year warranty on the power supply, 5-year warranty on the SSD, and then the rest of the components, the CPU, RAM, the graphics card, the motherboard, all that stuff just has 3-year warranty. 3 years is still pretty good. And then the only things that have 1-year warranty is just the fans on the case. So, but don't worry too much about them. You can pick up RGB fans for like just the fan on their own from a retailer between 10 to $15. So it's not like a big deal. And obviously the case itself has a 1 year warranty, but I mean it's made of aluminium and plastic, so it'll last ages anyway. I don't think the aluminium's gonna like decay into like, you know, lighter elements or anything like that in the time that you're gonna own it. So you should be all good. But yes, yeah, I think that pretty much covers anything. So just let me know. I'm gonna get the stress test set up. Let me know if you got any other questions for me. So that overlay that you saw there, you can hit Control F10 and turn that on and off. It can be handy if you want to see how your game's running and what the frames are running at and whatnot. And then over here for Cinebench, this is stressing out our our CPU. It's mainly, in your case, it's mainly just a test of the cooler. Make sure that's running alright. Okay, and yeah, so straight up to the high 50s there. No problems at all. That's really, really cool for a CPU, for a modern CPU. And our graphics card, like I said, it can get up to 83 degrees there. So we just let this one run for the next 90 minutes. Make sure everything's all good. And the idea of doing stress tests like this is to try to prevent any cases of, you know, you getting the PC and then something dies on you, like, within the first couple of days. I mean, it can happen, and even if I do the stress test, it can still happen, but I try to cover my bases because I'm just one person, so I don't have like a team of people that work on returns and custom solutions and stuff, so I've got to try to be a bit more thorough where possible. Alrighty, so let's move back to the first one before we finish up for the night. Okay, so okay, so now we are over on the first PC. As we can see, we have a 13900K there. So it's had that 175 watt limit there. So it looks like it's gotten to the end of the Cinebench run. So don't mind that. That's just the UPS telling me I've got too much wattage flowing through the system at the moment.
That's really loud.
Yeah, I'll stop it. So that's fine. So that's run through. And yeah, like I said, it's an i9, so getting warm is what it will do. That's why we run with the wattage limits. And our graphics card, yeah, not getting too warm at all. It's exactly the same as the other one there, up to 83 degrees. Memory and hotspot up to 110 degrees. So this one's all good. Excellent. So go ahead and shut this one down for the night. And yeah, alright, I think we might finish up. Unless we've got any other final questions. Am I in Western Australia? No, I'm in Brisbane, but I ship nationwide, so if you're after something, I definitely ship to Western Australia, so just let me know. What was that? Oops, all Marlboro Reds. Is that meant to be cereal? Good one. No, I think that might be it for the night. Alrighty, well, that's alright. We've been live for nearly 4 hours, I think. 3.5 hours. So yeah, alright. So thanks everyone for watching. Be sure to like and subscribe to the channel, and I'll catch you all in the next video.